in the box! Talking shop with the boss in the box! Talking shop with the boss in the box! Talking shop with the boss in the box!
Hello everybody, it's Monday night and you know what that means. This is episode 94 of Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box, and we have an interview for you today. But before we get to that, I don't think you know who we are, even though you watch us every single week. Lunchbox, who the hell are you?
Who the hell am I?
Who the hell are you?
Who the hell am I? Ladies and gentlemen, I am one half of your humble heavyweight co-host duo, The Lunchbox. That is one word, capital L, capital B. Thank you very much. And I am joined, as always, by my sensational, stupendous, superstitious, slapstickin', silly, sycophant of slobnobbery and slacking off.
What?
Brandon the Boss Blacker. That's right, sir. I went with the S's this week. And, you know, I just can't stop being wowed by our intro video. We're a fucking sitcom now, dude. We have a theme song and an opening credits. And I'm not sure what I like more. I mean, especially when you start showing us all the guests, you know. First there's, you know, Mike Vanek looking all awkward and weird up there, which is funny because he's not. Brother. And then you've got the Randy Savages in their animal get-ups, in their giraffe pajamas, and their shit. Ooh, yeah. And then you've got Matthias Montgomery, a.k.a. Wayne Famous, looking all dignified and like the professional that he is, and we're not. And then you've got Aaron Moore, who just looks happy to be here with the yes. And then it just slams it all home when you've got big King Fat Boy himself, Paco Esco, looking at the screen right before we start the show and going, "Fuck you, motherfucker."
Hey,
and that sums up what you're getting when you watch Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box.
That's right. And you said sitcom-like, so it made me think maybe we need an outro as well, like an ending credit, perhaps. You know, as we're saying our goodbyes, we get an ending credit where, you know, it's just kind of like one of those still shots where, you know, we like jump in the air and we like stay in the air, and then it just kind of fades to like some sepia color, and then it gives like an end credit. You know, some ending sitcom kind of end credits. I don't know, whatever. But ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 94, and you know what that means? That means we are 6 episodes away from possibly drinking ourselves stupid again.
Whoa, you say again, you didn't show up last time.
I was there in spirit. My spirit got fucked up.
Not as much as my spirit got fucked up.
But at least you finished it.
I did, unlike Lenny, but Roy made it, so I'm proud of him.
Yeah, but that man is a walking refrigerator. I'm surprised he didn't not make it.
Dude, he pre-gamed. The guy showed up drinking beer.
If they don't know what we're talking about, please explain to them what we're talking about before we bring our illustrious guest on.
Okay, so the goal is, when we did the Power Hour for episode 85, we drank 100 shots of beer we drank 60 shots of beer in 60 minutes. 1 shot every minute. And I built this nice counter. I lined up guests. I set up my garage accordingly and made it look beautiful. And the day before, Brandon calls me bitches out. Not to be outdone, I decided, you know what, we're just going to hang out and drink beer. And then, well, one of our guests showed up and he was telling me that he was really disappointed that we weren't going to do the Power Hour because everybody talked about it. Nobody ever wanted to do it. So we went ahead and we did it. And Brandon agreed, you know, and Brandon, to be fair, I give him shit for it. He bowed out responsibly, thought he may have been ill. We're not taking any chances right now. So Brandon did agree more enthusiastically this time that he would be up for doing it for episode 100. So we're working on getting a keg and getting everything handled. So in 6 weeks, we'll have a bit of an extravaganza where It might be an extra long show where we figure out a way to drink 100 shots of beer in 100 minutes. And y'all just chime along with us and hopefully drink alongside us.
And that is for episode 100. But what we got going on tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is we have an incredibly unique and innovative promoter, festival organizer, and artist up from Mendocino County, if I'm correct. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bryon Stiky-Tips! What's up, man?
What's going on, dude?
All right, and you can't hear it, but there's a big round of applause going on for you right now.
Oh, I hear it. I can hear it. I can always hear it.
Hey, dude, so what's going on with you, man? How are you surviving this pandemic in a world where we're supposed to be playing music, man? We're supposed to be throwing shows and playing shows, something you're very good at, and we can't do it. Like, how are you surviving?
Well, I just take solace in the fact that I'm not out there getting sick and dying. So, like, that's a bonus, you know. But I mean, yeah, dude, you miss it, I miss it, we all miss it. It's you know, we need that human interaction, dude, and it's been lacking. And, you know, we just gotta hang in there until we get back around to it. Music ain't dead, dude. It's, you know, people are too hungry for it. We just gotta wait for it to come back around and be safe again. We'll be back out there.
Yeah.
This is our Band-Aid for it right here.
Right, yeah, this is what it is. This is just the, you know, finger in the dike right now. So
Exactly,
you know.
the appetizer, as it were.
Yeah, you take that how you want, dude. That's cool.
Brandon, get your mind out the gutter. That was a callback to an old story from Holland.
Or something, yeah. Or
Holland?
yeah. You can roll with that. You can roll with that, dude.
What does that even mean, Holland?
The Great Dikes of Holland that hold back the water from... Damn it, Brandon, learn some fucking geography.
You know, that was the class that I skipped in high school, where I would just go to guitar class and go play some fucking Static X on the guitar. That was before I didn't really know how to play guitar, so I would just do bar chords all the time.
We've also discussed you've skipped English class, too.
That's true. That's true. So the running shtick on this show is I can't pronounce anything, which is not kayfabe. It's a shoot. I suck at pronouncing shit. So.
Well, but why is that though? I mean, why is that?
I think I get a little too excited, and I don't take my time with shit, and I just blurt it all out, and it just turns into word spaghetti.
Well, there you go. I mean, I don't know. I get my words backwards sometimes. I end up sounding like an idiot. It's kind of like I'm like I don't know, predictive text. You know? You know, my brain fixes shit that don't need to be fixed, I guess. I don't know. I always say,
Duck all that shot.
Well, hey, one thing I've always wanted to know myself was, you know, I've known you for a few years now throughout the scene, through social media and whatnot. Your name is Bryon Stiky-Tips. Now, where did that name come from? I have an idea, but, like, I want to hear your story.
Okay, so I'm in Mendocino County, you know, and, you know, Emerald Triangle, all that good shit. Well, anyway, you know, 10, 12 years ago, me and a friend of mine decided we were going to build secret grow rooms in people's houses and consultate and tell them how to grow good weed and all that stuff. So the whole name of the business was Sticky Tips, as in, you know, we're going to consult people on how to grow good weed. And back then it wasn't exactly legal yet, so nobody really wanted you to know about their secret grow rooms, so nobody called you to build one because, well, then you would know about it. So the business plan was kind of flawed. But you know, we weren't getting any calls, we weren't getting any business, so we decided we would make some t-shirts to you know, promote the business, and everybody just liked the t-shirts, so somehow it just turned into that. But the reason it's Bryon Stiky-Tips is because I started a Facebook page, and as I was telling you guys earlier, I'm not tech savvy at all on any level, and so I didn't know what name to put into for my account, so I put Bryon Stiky-Tips and made it like it was gonna be a business account, and somehow it just stuck, and now that's, you know, sticky graphics, sticky this, sticky that, you know.
Well, that's great, because I have a fun game for you later on.
Oh, great.
we
See, Now I'm curious. Now I'm curious. I'm not sure if you broke the rule of making your own nickname or if that counts as the stumble into a nickname.
I think it was more of a stumble into a nickname because I never. I am not fond of the name on any level. To me, it's just kind of like. I mean, it's endearing now because I've had it for about 10 years. But yeah, I would have picked a different one.
Well, I mean, dude, I never wanted to be the guy known by his moniker, right? Never.
Right.
You know, always proud of my name, Dave. You know, it's my grandpa's name. It's my dad's middle name. It's my middle name. You know, it's a family tradition. And about 2002, Differential just started calling me Lunchbox, mostly because I've always been a big heavyweight, you know? And next thing you know, people call me that for the next 3-4 years. I move off to Sacramento, come back, and every time I come back to Modesto and Merced area for shows, people kept calling me Lunchbox. And I moved back in 2009, and I was literally in a band with a guy whose mom thought my legal name was Lunchbox.
Well, in high school, my nickname was Maggot, so like I have no idea why that was, or I'm glad I dropped that one because Sticky's probably a little bit better than Maggot. But
I mean that sounds like it was a little predated from Slipknot, right?
maybe Slipknot was I was already grown when Slipknot came out, so I mean that's kiddie stuff.
It's young people. You were a maggot before it was cool.
Slipknot's a little after my time.
Well, dude, let's talk about that beard. Like, how long have you been growing that epic ass beard, man?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. As an investigative journalist, I have found out that is not the beard is not an it. It is a he, and his name is Leif.
His name is Leif. At least that's what I picked when we were having a conversation, but I guess we're gonna roll with that. So.
Wait.
I never actually named my beard, but we can name it now if you like.
No. Well, that blows my next question, which was, why Leif?
Well, I mean, look at it, man.
Mike Vanek, brother. In the chat, he says Stiky-Tips is the man, and his beard is fierce.
I actually wanted to cut the damn thing off, but like nobody will let me. Like I've been forbade by countless people, my lady. Nobody will let me cut the beard off. My kids, nothing. So I'm stuck with it now. It's like it gets more attention than I do. Jesus.
How's that when you're wearing a mask? Is it just like,
Oh, it's like dude, just everywhere. It's ridiculous.
They make a beard shield mask. I actually have this cat that works at one of the Save Marts I'm in, and he has it's like a fucking small. It looks like a miniature apron. Like you
that's too much, dude. That's too much.
No, dude, because it looks good. Because I even was like, dude, that's quite the mask. He's like, it's a beard, beard shield, beard guard. I don't remember how he put it, but I'm like, all right.
Mine just always looks like a bunch of spiders are trying to escape.
Now, do you use product on the beard? Like
No, man. I don't do nothing to it. It's just there. Run a brush through it once in a while, fluff it up a bit, but it's just there.
I
man.
had to ask because we had a guest, friend of the show, Aaron Moore, who's in the band Phaneron, and he's got a very nice manicured,
Oh, I've seen his beard. His beard is it's like a beard model. Like if you went into a store to buy beards, his would be like the display beard, like perfectly manicured. Like he spends a lot of time on it.
You can see a picture of just here to here on him. Not that he's not a handsome dude or whatever, but like you can just see like the beard ad like over the product, like right, just bam, beard here to here.
Well, that's like a lie though, because people see his beard and everybody thinks that they're just going to grow a beard like that, and no, dude. No,
well, that's why it's advertising the products, though.
No, you got to be natural, dude. Just let it go. Be
That's
free.
what we're talking about in pre-production. Like, I want to grow mine so bad, but the minute it started getting long and I put a mask on, because I have to wear a mask a lot, so it looks weird. I don't like it. It's that awkward stage in between. So I said, fuck it. I'm going to grow the beard after mask time is done. So,
well, I'm like this. I'm like, if I could ever catch up to Tim Narducci and grow a beard of that caliber, because that dude's beard rocks, dude. Like, that's like we all aspire to have a beard like that. that's what I'm aiming for. But I mean, for a while there, it looked like that dude from Rancid. I don't know what's his name. Where the scraggle beard looked like he slept on it the wrong way all night. Just went to work.
Like clockwork, by the way, our resident mascot Jordan Harrison is asking for a shout out from our guest. So Bryon, would you do the honor in giving Jordan Harrison a nice little shout out, please?
What's going on, Jordan Harrison? How's your life?
And there you go. That's all you get, Jordan. No more. Now go back to your doghouse. Thank you very much.
Hey! You don't send her back to the Roxy house. Like, she's gonna hang out with us and do diamond art and talk to us and our guests. Al Baker, since we're on the subject of beer, said he wants to grow it out to Gandalf length once he starts to gray. I want to do Merlin from the cartoon Sword in the Stone.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, where like you throw it back over your shoulder and shit. When you get tired of it, you step on it.
Well, there's different levels, okay, so like we were talking about, Aaron's beard is like, the perfect, like he's gonna go out on a date, hang out with some cool chicks, whatever, at the bar. Maybe he's gonna drink an IPA. He's got that kind of beard going, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with that, dude. There's nothing wrong with that. I have the beard where, obviously, I'm friends with an eagle. So, I've got friends with an eagle-style beard. Yeah.
You ride a grizzly bear to work on a daily?
Quite possibly. I'm definitely friends with a red-tailed hawk. Yeah, we chat.
I mean, can you check your beard for eggs as we speak? You got any eagle eggs?
No, there might be some spaghetti in there, though, because was eating some spaghetti, so stuff gets down in there. Sometimes you find it the next day,
Jordan says, I belong in the doghouse. I do belong in the doghouse, actually. But we could spend a whole nother hour talking about beers because that's what men do. But what we're really here for is we need to know how you came up in the promoter game, man. How did it start? Because you've been doing it for some time. You've been running festivals, throwing shows, building relationships with some awesome bands and musicians. Where did that start for you?
Actually, it started with the whole Stiky-Tips wanting to, do grow rooms, and all that whole thing didn't pan out. And somehow it turned into, everybody liked the T-shirts that we were making, for to advertise. So somehow it turned into us just making T-shirts. And in order to sell the T-shirts, we would go to a lot of festivals and events and stuff and set up vending booths and peddle our wares. A lot of it was reggae festivals because, Mendocino County, we put pot leaves on everything. So, we were going to a lot of festivals and vending, and it costs a lot of money to do that, So one day we came up with this novel idea, like, hey, well, maybe we'll just put together our own little show and we can vend at it and we'll make a bunch of money. And that plan was flawed too because it costs a lot of money to put on a show. So we had to go through a whole lot of business plan flaws before we got to, what was right. But I actually started out like promoting reggae shows. I'm friends with, Junior Toots Hayward's boy. We've been friends for a long time. So through him, we kind of got hooked up with a lot of reggae artists. And like I said, Mendocino County, it was big here in the, early 2000s. And so, we started doing shows like that. And I'm a metalhead at heart. So after we'd gotten the experience of doing some reggae shows and figuring out how to book bands and put these things together and pay for it and stuff, I decided, well, hey, let's start doing some metal shows because that's what I like. And it started off small, local shows, local bands. And just one night, me and a friend of mine, Jake King, he's from the band White Trash Superstars. And Jake. Anyway, just one night we were at a show at a place called the Brook Trails Lodge, and it was like Embryonic Devourment had played, and I think White Trash Superstars and a couple of other local bands had played, and we drank a few beers, and I think I popped off with, let's do a metal fest, man, and like that was literally like the beginning of doing what I do now, because me and him sort of we said it in front of a bunch of people. And a bunch of people suddenly had an expectation, so we had to follow through. And so, basically it wasn't like a noble thing that we were trying to do. It was just a drunken idea. And somehow we got into doing, we put together Redwood Metalfest, and we had Death Angel didn't open, they headlined, and we had all of our local metal bands played. And it was a really crappy turnout because we had no idea what we were doing. you know, I mean, basically we had Death Angel play with like, you know, in front of 100 people, like who squashes a show, like who kills a show like that? Me. Yeah, I did. And um, you know, so from there, just kind of got hungry for it because it was fun and we enjoyed it. And you know, then you know, you're kind of starstruck because you get to meet, you know, these famous people, and you think, well, let's create some more environment in which we can do that. And so we kind of kept moving with it, and it just, one thing turned into another, and here we are. You know, it's just hundreds and hundreds of shows, and you know, it's turned into, you know, lots of different festivals and different ideas that are coming up all the time. And like I said, it started off as not necessarily a noble thing. It was just, like I said, a drunken idea. But after we got into it and started doing it, we started realizing the benefit to the bands and the community, and you know, bringing people together and it being fun and accomplishing your goals and your challenges. And so now it's become something that I have to do. You know, because people make me, but because, you know, it's a part of who I am now. So, you know, yeah.
Man, fantastic explanation. No, and that's actually something that I was going to touch on too, is one of the things that we're all really proud of is our home turf scene. You know, I'm a big fan of the Modesto area metal scene. You know, we've got a reputation for, honestly, drunken debauchery. You know, Brandon over there in the East Bay, they've got a penchant for kind of the punk style show.
Yeah.
What about your area up there in the Emerald Triangle? What's the identity? What makes it you guys' own? What makes it itself?
You know, that's hard to put anything on, because put a label on it, because literally it's just, I think that we have this profound appreciation for shows because we're so far removed from the city. I mean, we're 100 miles north of San Francisco. You know, we're not just a quick jaunt in the car to go to a show. So, you know, up until the last few years, we didn't really have, I mean, we had our music scene, but it wasn't really popping per se. It was just our local bands and stuff. And when bigger bands started to come through, I think we have a different appreciation, you know, because it's not as accessible to us. So when it does come, like, it's like, I could compare it to, like, we're like a small Europe, you know, like, okay. You know, you go to a big festival in San Francisco, everybody has fun, that's great, but everybody's looking on their phones the whole time. When you go to a festival, like, you know, go to Wacken or something, it's like people live and breathe in every moment of those events, and they appreciate them differently. And I think Mendocino County has that because we don't get as much of it. It's not as accessible. So when it comes through, we have, you know, we get more excited, and the crowds are insane. You know, we've had big crowds, we've had small crowds, but everybody puts their heart into it. If there's 2 people or 200 people, it's, you know, the same energy, you know, it's just great. You know?
We got a couple of questions in the chat. So Jordan Harrison does ask, what, I think you already answered this, what got you to start to do merchandise?
Just it evolved from another project and sort of came out of necessity for promoting a project that we were doing, and the project we were doing sucked ass, so we abandoned that and made shirts. And I've always been into art, you know. I've always been, you know, done art and things like that, but I never really honed my skills until the last 15 years or so, because it kind of became necessary, because I didn't really want to pay somebody else to make t-shirt designs. So I really got into, you know, studying my art and how to make things and so on and so forth. So, you know, basically that way, necessity to fulfill, I guess, almost like a sick fantasy, you know.
And Joanna, she Filicky, she asked California Roots. I'm guessing, did you promote there? Did you have a booth at California Roots?
No, but I did have a lot. I used to make merchandise for a guy named Mystic Lion.
Okay.
You know, he just does all the lines and stuff. I used to collaborate with him making skate decks, and he would make the designs, and I would make skate decks, and so, like, yeah, I used to do make merchandise that's been sold at those places, but I've never vended there.
Okay. So,
real quick,
yeah.
I just want to pop in and say, you know, Al Baker's over there saying, 100 miles north of San Francisco, that's not that bad. He's driven from Turlock to Manteca to LA, etc. You know what, man, but that's kind of the point, is not everybody has that energy.
Yeah.
And when it's accessible to you, which, you know, it didn't used to be to us down here in Los Banos, when I started promoting, I'd have 200 kids show up just because I mentioned a show. I figure it's the same thing up there. You know, it's not every weekend. It's not, oh, we're going to go see X band at X place. It's an event. You know, if you're getting one every other month, it matters. Do you say that's part of it too, is the rarity of it?
Yeah, you know, I mean, hey, you know, too much of anything ruins it. You know, I always say, like, even if chocolate cake is your favorite food, if you eat it every night, eventually you get tired of chocolate cake, you know. So I think less is more sometimes, you know, to maintain that appreciation, you know. But
my wife is over here saying, you like giving the hand, like, use a different analogy because she does not subscribe to that chocolate cake theory.
Hey, on night 120, you will be tired of chocolate cake, okay?
We have chocolate cake in the kitchen right now, and it's on night 4. I can't have any more.
See? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? But, you know, also, too, it's, you know, everybody wants to, how can I explain? It's not that we don't go to shows down in the city. I've been to plenty of shows in the city. You know, I've gone to the Phoenix Theater in Petaluma, awesome shows there. I've been to plenty of shows in Oakland, San Francisco, San Jose. I mean, I grew up in San Jose. You know, I know the area. I've been down there. But who doesn't want something that's in their own backyard, something that you can walk across the street and go to? I mean, if they, you know, I mean, you can go down to San Francisco and there's 100 venues. You can go to anywhere you want. You can walk across any street and see a show. Here in Ukiah, man, we've got, you know, 25,000 people. We're not, you know, a raging metropolis by any means. So be able to have something like that in your own backyard just makes it pretty special. I mean, we've had bands like, you know, DRI's played here in the brewery. You know, the brewery that you played at, Brandon.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we've had DRI in there with 200 heads, you know, in this tiny place that's like 10 square feet, you know, like that more so than, you know, just trying to make this huge epic show. To me, it's about making this, the challenge of taking something that would never happen and making it happen. You know, DRI playing in this tiny little brewery where people are eating onion rings and drinking IPAs, you know, and now there's bodies flying off the balcony.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, come on, man. You know, that's memorable, and that's what I like to do, is to make things that people will remember 20 years from now and tell their kids about that show when they saw DRI with 180 other people in this tiny little club. You know, that's what.
Well, let's touch on that a little bit, because obviously you are a DRI fan. You have hosted DRI, and you love DRI.
I do.
How did you develop that relationship? Because you've hosted them a few times now, I believe, and
5 or 6 times, 7 times, I don't know, quite a few times.
Yeah, it seems like you have a great relationship. Like, you know, like the prior questions, how did your booking and friendship with DRI start? Where'd that come from?
A fellow promoter who, I refuse to say his name because we're not friends anymore, but he put me in touch with them, so I do have to say thank you for that. But I actually chased DRI for a couple of years. I first hit them up in like 2012, I think was the first time I tried to book them. I wanted them to play the Redwood Metalfest, the first one. And they were either busy, something else was going on, and you know, I kept sending them emails, and they had no idea who I was. It was just this guy named Bryon that was sending them emails asking for a show, and you know, they're a national touring band. I had no credibility, you know. It was just some dude who was chasing them down looking for a show. And I think after 3 years of bugging him, Spike finally kind of gave in and said, all right, this dude's been bugging us enough, let's give him a show. So we did a show at the Phoenix Theater, was the first time I booked him. And, you know, it's sold out. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was like oversold out. It was probably one of the wildest shows I've ever hosted. And actually, that was like the first real, I think that was the first time I actually sold out a show, was with that. But
when was that?
That was in 2000, was it 2014? I think it was 2014 was the first time that I booked him. And it was just an amazing show. You know, they hadn't played at the Phoenix Theater in like 20 years or some shit. You know, it was cool to be able to have them back and be able to play. And, you know, DRI, the whole, the skanker and, you know, skate ramps and DRI playing. And it was just an amazing event. Everybody had a great time. And I think what impressed them is the fact that at the end of the night, I just paid them. I said, here's the money we agreed on. You know, we didn't have to haggle, nothing. They were just paid. And since then, we've had this really great relationship, and the fact it's just based on trust. That, like, if I say I'm going to do it, they don't question it. They know that I'm going to do it. If and I think that ultimately that's what our friendship and our relationship is based on trust. And then also I'm a fan, so I pretty much do anything they want me to do because I'm a fanboy. But like I said, at the same time, it's I think we have a good rapport because it's trust, and there's not a lot of trustworthy people out there, especially when it comes to money and promises and things like that. Money makes people funny.
And because of you, I've actually been able to have conversations with Spike about booking, and this was as early as last year. So thank you for that. That opened up a few doors for me as well. So a nice recommendation from you to me really helped me out. So thank you for that. On the note of talking about, and by the way, the Phoenix Theater is on my bucket list. I've played almost every modern venue in the last 15 years or so.
You've never played the Phoenix Theater?
I got the Phoenix before you did.
That
Wow.
is on my
Don't get me
bucket
wrong,
list.
It was a shitty show, dude. Like, well, let me rephrase that. It was a shitty turnout. The show itself was a lot of fun. We played with War Troll, and
Yes.
oh, dude, those guys are so good, so good. And then I forget who else we were on there with, but there was literally like 12 people there, and 5 of them came with me. Like they were friends of mine that happened to either be up at Pride that weekend, so they came from San Francisco, or I have friends that live in Roanoke Park, so they showed up.
Yeah.
But
the Phoenix Theater's it's hit and miss, man. Like it's if to sell out the Phoenix Theater is like it's not easy. It's not hard, but it's not easy. Like you put a big name band in there and everybody comes out, but to try to fill the room with local bands, it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, without making it either, like you said, a really large band or a really cool event. Plus, we were up against roller derby that night.
Yeah.
And, well, apparently roller derby's big shit there. Like my buddy who showed up from Roanoke Park, he's like, dude, I had about 30 people say they'd be here, but their cousin, sister, friend, wife is competing across town in roller derby and they can't miss it.
Well, you don't have boobs, and if you do have boobs, they're not near as nice as their boobs, so you lose.
I do, and they are not.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, you lose. You lose.
No, I get it. Like, I'm with
Here, lunch.
And plus, we only cause fake violence on stage. We don't actually beat each other up. I've seen what those chicks do at roller derby. It's fucking horrible.
Hey, Lunchbox, I will tell you something you probably don't know. I actually played roller derby for about a year.
You did tell me this, actually. I think it was on air too.
Yeah, man.
So then you got nice boobs, or?
They're okay.
Not
They're a
anymore.
little hairy.
Oh, you got a handful. You got a handful there. I mean,
they're a little hairy, but they're nice. But I will say this: much like a professional wrestler in the training department, fucking roller derby is intense. The training that you have to do during practice is crazy. Like, I don't know if you've ever had to do squats all the time, but this is 2 hours of their 3-hour practices is they're just like this.
Yeah.
It sucks, man. If your back hurts, don't do roller derby. Trust me on that one.
Really?
Yeah, man. Anyways, away from roller derby, we mentioned DRI, we mentioned selling out the Phoenix Theater. What is your favorite show you've ever booked, and what is the favorite show you've ever attended?
My favorite show I ever booked was DRI when they played in Willits, California, up here, just 20 miles north of where I'm at, even farther in the cuts. And they played the Willits Community Center in 2017, I want to say. Mm-hmm. 17 or 18. Well, anyway, it was also a sold out show, but they brought the same energy. The crowd was wild, the crowd was crazy. What was so memorable and so awesome about it was the fact that it's Willits, California. It's like nobody of any significance has ever really played there to speak of. It's still something that even 2-3 years later, people are still talking about that show. And honestly, it had nothing to do with me. It was the show itself, that just the people that came out of the hills to go to this show. It was that was just the best show I think that we've ever had, as far as maybe one of my proudest moments, if you want to call it. Yeah, I really couldn't think of we've done a lot of really great shows. We've had MDC, we've had TSOL, we've had Agent Orange, we've had all those bands up here since then. But even though they were all great in their own ways, like that's the one that stands out as like, damn, that's like the one to top. And I don't know if we could do it. It's just, it was one of those shows. Legendary.
You know your bias to DRI plays any factor in that?
No, I don't think that it's the fact that it was DRI. It was DRI was there, which made it awesome. Yes, indeed. But it was just the way that everybody responded to it, the amount of energy that the crowd had, just the fact that every person in there walked up at the end and said thank you, and you could just see that like they were touched in some way by having had this experience that they otherwise would have never had. Like that's what was cool about it. And yeah, it's hard to top that one. Maybe a close second would be, maybe the first Redwood Metalfest with Death Angel. Ooh. But only 100 and some odd people got to see that show. That was probably should have had a few more to pay the bills, but that was a cool show. But I don't know that I had as fond an appreciation for that show, simply because the whole time it was like my first adventure in putting together a big show, so I didn't have the ability to enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Maybe I would have seen it differently. Huh?
Just walking around stressing it.
Oh, just trying to figure out what excuse I had to come up with why I didn't have this band's money at the end of the night. Trying to figure out the plan of how we were going to deal with this huge deficit of money, but it all worked out in the end, so it was fine. But yeah, that was not. I wasn't able to enjoy that show as cool as it was. I wasn't able to enjoy that one, but the DRI was great. Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel you on the being a show festival organizer, like, and of course being the individual who like puts on the show and also playing in a band. Like I also put that additional stress on myself for playing the show that I put with the band that I book. So, yeah. So like having to deal with all of that, having to deal with sales, having to deal with just organization, and answering everybody else's questions, and then dealing with my own performance. Oh man, after
and then the road Vikings setting their whole battleship up in the middle of the street.
Oh man, yeah. So what he's referring to is at Devastated Fest 2. You were there, right?
No, I was at the first one.
Oh.
I only went to the first one when you had Hatred.
That's right. So basically, real quick, Devastated Fest 2 at the Oakland Metro. All the bands are playing on time. They're doing great. They got their 20, 25-minute sets. They're doing great. And then here comes the Road Vikings. Great band, by the way. But they go, okay, we have our drum riser. I'm like, what do you mean you have your drum riser? Oh, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. They bring out this drum riser that, I shit you not, is fucking 6 feet tall by like 12 feet wide. It's broken up into 4 different pieces. So they have to put together the drum riser and then put the drum set on top of it while putting 3 double stacks.
Yeah. So they took their entire set to set up, basically.
Well, yeah. Dude, they took an hour in the parking lot, like, not in the parking lot. They blocked off the street in front of the venue with and the drum riser. I mean, it looked like if a junior high drama production tried to recreate the Amon Amarth Viking ship.
Right on.
That's what it looked like. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was impressive-ish, but like I come upon Brandon lying in the smoking area, on his back, like looking like someone shot him. And I'm just like, you all right?
Right.
The Road Vikings just set up that whole stupid riser that you see on stage, and they took over the whole street, and like the security was yelling at me for 20 minutes, and I don't even fucking know. Well, were they at least on time? No!
Fuck no!
No.
Fuck no!
But you know what, though? That's the thing is this is what I've learned in all of the shows that I've done. I mean, when you first start out, you're trying to figure out this game, how all this stuff works. It's stressful and it's difficult, and you're trying to figure out how do you make this purse happy and do this and do that and do it all right so it works and all within this time frame. And after you get it figured out, then you realize that the whole point of doing these shows is to have fun. It's entertainment, and I had to learn how to have fun putting the shows together, because the end result should be fun. there shouldn't be anything miserable or not fun about doing music, and so I had to learn that let's make this fun. So like, I think that's why a lot of what I do is successful, is because I think that, it's my mission to make it fun for everybody involved. The bands, the guy that's working the door, the people that are helping us load the stage or unload the stage, the sound guy, myself, the people hanging flyers. It should be fun. Like, there shouldn't be anything miserable or not fun about it. And, so like when you talk about stuff like, the Road Vikings, and like, I absolutely completely understand that, but you got to find a way to wrap your head around the fun part of it. Like, what's fun about this? You got to put a spin on it. You got to make it something that's positive, and like to me, the fact that they did that is like, that just shows dedication, man. Dedication to the craft.
Hell
yeah. Hell
that
yeah,
was
dude.
good. Like, they brought something different to the ball game that day. I watched every band, and it was cool to see. But like I said, it was just funny when I walk back out and I see Brandon lying flat on his back, right, in the middle of Oakland.
Yeah.
All right, so you mentioned the word game. I think it's a good time to actually play a game. You want to play a game, Mr. Bryan?
Well, you're going to make me play a game, so I'm going to play a game.
All right. This is an easy game. This game is called Real or Not. So, since you are Bryon Stiky-Tips, you must know a thing or two about marijuana, hopefully, and their strains. Well, I'm going to put you to the test. I'll name a strain of weed, and you tell me if it is real or not. And if you get it right, we'll drink. If you get it wrong, well, whatever. Anyways, every guest we have, who is the Randy Savages? They have the highest score, right? Perfect score.
The Randy Savages pulled a clean sweep, so yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So, they had to answer questions about Macho Man Randy Savage. So, since
it would have been shameful if they would have got any wrong. I mean, come on. Now.
What was funny is Jesse was okay on his knowledge, but Nikki not only crushed on all the Randy Savage parts. He usually, if the question was this a Randy Savage promo or not, Nikki not only knew if it was or was not a Randy Savage promo, he would name who did it otherwise. Oh. Like, he'd be like, no, that was Ultimate Warrior, dude.
Oh, I dig those guys, man. The Randy Savages, they actually played Punkfest, I guess it would have been last year, 2019, right? And like, I don't know their names. I booked them on the show, but I didn't really have time to spend with them, so I didn't really get to know them. But like, dude was up on the stage playing. He played his guitar in half, like he broke it while he was playing. Like, they were playing so savagely that his guitar broke in half. The neck broke off of it in the middle of their set. Like, and I was like, dude, and then somewhere he produced another guitar and they finished their set. But yeah, that was sick. Randy Savages, you rock, dude.
Dude, and they were savage. They were solid guests, other than the fact that they were one of the oddly drunker than me guests.
Oh yeah.
And which makes for a bad time, because every time we'd ask them a question, if the shades were off, they would speak as the person. But once the shades went on, they spoke in Randy Savage character.
Yes.
So when they'd start answering questions with the shades on, we'd ask them something. Oh, yeah, brother, let me tell you something. And they go on a 30-minute tirade and then be like, well, I hope that answers your question. No. And then half the time it was, well, what was the question, brother? And we'd be like, oh, it was this. They'd do another 20-minute tirade and then be like, did that help? No.
Well, hopefully you can do better than Gershok, because they got a terrible score on their quiz. So hopefully you could do a lot better than Gershok.
Yeah, they failed. Townsend or not.
All right. Question number 1. Bryon Stiky-Tips, is forbidden fruit a marijuana strain?
It absolutely is.
Ding!
100%.
Ding, ding, ding!
That is my personal favorite strain of marijuana.
Okay. I haven't tried that one yet, though.
Oh, dude, it's your fiance's favorite too.
Oh yes, as is. Well, we'll get to that at some point. Number 2, Strawberry Fields.
Oh, You know what? I want to say yes because that sounds like it would be a strain, but it sounds like that's like an old strain, like 90s strain, old OG. But I'm gonna say yes. That's a real strain.
Ding, ding, ding! It is an indica, and that is real. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you're not gonna tell me somebody didn't name a strain of weed after a Beatles song. Come on.
Right?
That's also my lovely, beautiful, smart, intelligent, creative fiance's favorite as well. So, okay, number 3, monkey butter.
Oh, I've heard some monkey strains, but I don't think I've heard monkey butter. It's not one that I've heard of, so I'm gonna have to say no.
Absolutely, that is a fake strain. So, good job, man.
Hey,
Ready?
Well, now we know the next name for a strain. Then
there you go.
I got that.
The thing is, though, you
monkey
can hold up any nug of weed and just call it something fruity, like fruity pebble sticks, and like that's the new strain, So, nobody even really checks. You can show this is what this is, and they go, okay, cool. Sounds
Yo,
cool.
man, you want some Christmas pine tree? Fuck yeah, I want some
Right?
Christmas pine tree. That sounds delicious. All right, number 4, Gorilla Glue.
Yes, I've heard of Gorilla
Yes. Okay, that is correct. Gorilla Glue is a hybrid, and that is absolutely real. Okay, number 5, a Durban poison.
Glue. Yes, Durban poison.
Oh, man. Okay, yep. That is absolutely real as well. That is a sativa. Number 6, a Zootmeyer cookie.
Oh, I know, but they've got Girl Scout cookie, and they've got all those cookie strains, but I don't think that that's a strain.
Man, hitting it out of the park. That is another fake one. Woo! Man, you're good at this. If someone asked me, like, I'm not a big weed smoker. Every once in a while, I totally get all of this shit wrong. So.
But you know what? I actually don't smoke weed at all. I haven't smoked weed in probably 10 years. So
Oh, wow.
I just live in Mendocino County, man. It's, in kindergarten they teach you 2 + 2. In Mendocino County they teach you all the weed strains. It's just common knowledge, man.
All right, let's see if we can make it to the end then. All right, cereal milk.
I'm gonna say no because I would be upset if that's a strain of weed.
That is indeed a strain of weeds. You
Wow.
get one
They're get-
strike.
So I can't beat the Randy Savages.
I don't like that at all.
It is a hybrid. Okay, number
I've
8.
never heard that one either.
And by the way, all of these strains can be found on leaffly.com/strains. So they are all real strains, kind of like the Wikipedia of weed strains, I guess. So, all right. Number 8 is Peacemaker.
I'm gonna say yes because why not? That should be a strain of weed.
It definitely sounds like one, but it is not, at least according to
It
the
is
website.
somewhere, man.
I was gonna say
It
bullshit.
is somewhere.
Gotta be.
It is somewhere.
Gotta be.
It's somewhere.
All right,
Somewhere.
I'll give you half credit.
Half a point.
All right, number 9, Motor Breath.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that one absolutely is a real one. It is a hybrid.
Wow, I'm falling apart here, man. Falling apart, embarrassing myself.
Strong start. Well, like you said, you stopped smoking weed, 10 years ago, so new stuff comes out.
Yeah, but just what happened? Remember back in the day, we had 3 kinds of weed to pick from. It's all confusing now, dude. It's like going to a restaurant and the menu has 8,000 things on the menu. You can't even decide. It's too much.
Hey, man, up until about 21, I thought there was Bammer and Kush. That's all I thought there
Right.
was.
Yeah,
Right. Green weed, brown weed.
Yeah.
swag and dank. That's what it was, dude. Now it's everything in between now. Yeah.
Right. Stress or bomb. That was
Right.
all we had in high school. We got stress and we got bomb.
All right, so I'm going to give you a lifeline. Mike Vanek has said he has smoked Peacemaker before, so I will give you a full point for that.
There we go. Thank you,
All
Mike.
Mike Vanek's full of shit. Mike Vanek would say something, brother, I done smoked the monkey butter Peacemaker, fucking. All that shit that you said's not real as it is. Brandon's a poser. He doesn't know his weeds.
Mike can't even spell poser, so. All right. Last one, and then I will give you a bonus. All right, so last one, number 10, Barry White.
Yes.
Absolutely. That is an indica. And you have one incorrect, so if you get this last one correct, you could have a technical clean slate.
Real quick, I just want to comment. How could Barry White be anything but an indica?
Right?
like, unless there was a weed that was an aphrodisiac, then it would definitely be the Barry White.
All right, here is your final bonus question. If you get this one correct, you technically have a clean slate. So, the word is Popeye's spinach.
Yes. I believe so.
According to leaffly.com, it is not a currant.
So somebody picked some stupid cereal name, and then they didn't pick Popeye spinach to call us straight up. I mean, come on, man. Like,
right?
It's like people are letting me down out there.
I'm with that. Like, what the fuck?
I'm saying is I deserve a point because whoever made up the cereal name was stupid. So we can just leave it at that. Whoever cereal person is, you're stupid.
Are you sure you haven't smoked in the last 10 years? Did you get secondhand from the Skype call? Because like that was some stoner ass shit to say.
I deserve
a point.
I will say that about, I don't know, maybe it was 5 years ago, I smoked some weed with Lucas Nelson. But that was the only time in the last 10 years. So, but it was Lucas Nelson. How are you not gonna smoke weed with Lucas Nelson? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. Well,
no, I'm with it, but like, and I'm with you 100%. Popeye spinach. I mean, I've referred to weed as Popeye spinach.
Yeah.
Like, I need some of Popeye spinach, you know, like in the devil's lettuce, the electric lettuce.
There's no need to call weeds after cereal. What was it? Cereal something?
Cereal milk.
Cereal milk.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
Come on now. That's got nothing to do with weed. Come on. Popeye's spinach. That's what it really is.
Cereal milk is probably some suburban weed. You know, put together by, you know, some teenagers out in, suburbia. Hey, man, you got that cereal milk? Got that cereal milk? You got an eighth of that cereal milk? Give me that dime, man.
I imagine that the conversation happened exactly like that. Like, that was exactly how the conversation happened.
Oh, man. Okay. So, you rank within the top 10 so far. So, I think you're either number 2 or number 3. You have 9 out of 10.
Well, we might have to have like I don't know. What would you call it? I don't know. We might have to like question off later or something. Trivia contest with whomever and see who can come out number 1. There should be some kind of prize for that.
We've been talking about that.
I was going to say, I just had an idea with that, like where we could do game show night on Talking Shop.
Oh,
yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm all about that. So, okay, so, you know, with the pandemic in place, we haven't been able to do live shows. So, but you have figured out a way around that. All of 2020, you've been doing the stream show, and your stream show is something different than I've seen from other people, where, you know, it would be like one band playing like an hour and a half, 2 hours for a stream show, but instead, you decided to go ahead and put together showcases featuring multiple bands like it's a real show. Where did you come up with the idea?
I don't know that I necessarily came up with the idea. Everybody knows Jimmy Arsenault from San Jose. He does, he books. He's legendary booker. He works with the Sofa Street Fair in San Jose.
Yes.
And I guess last year they couldn't do it, just like we all couldn't do our festival. So they decided to do this virtual, festival. And he called me up and he said, "Hey, you want to get involved in this?" And I was like, "Dude, I don't know anything about computers or how to do any of this streaming stuff or any of that." And they talked me through it and gave me the basic skills. And, so I learned how to, kind of put together this. The idea was that it was supposed to be presented like every promoter that was involved was presenting a stage, and we called ourselves the Emerald Stage. So we wanted to have performers on our stage. So that meant, much like a festival, we were trying to do an online festival, so why not make it feel like one with different performances? So I learned the process, and they went their way and continued to do their streams, and I took that knowledge and decided, well, what can we do here in Mendocino County to help bands, or Northern California to help bands sort of, stay in people's minds during all this downtime. And that's kind of the, that was kind of the idea behind it, was to, there's a lot of bands that aren't going to come back from this pandemic. We all know it. There's a lot of bands that aren't going to come back from it. There's a lot of bands that are really struggling to stay in the game, but they don't have any outlet. And it doesn't matter how talented they are. Bless their hearts, they're all talented, but if you've got no outlet, nobody knows your name, you don't go anywhere. So the whole idea was to keep that momentum as best we could. And, so we took the idea of the Emerald stage and just kind of continued it in the same format. Since I have, like I said, literally no skills when it comes to podcasting, I literally don't know what I'm doing even when I'm already doing my streams, I tried to make it as easy as possible, and that was, rather than do a live stream with all this technical crap and trying to link things and depending on all these different people to do their part and make it all work right, we were like, well, let's just pre-record the performances live, and we'll just, we'll just share the videos, and do it that way. It's, less technical, less chance for something to get fucked up or something to not work right. And, so that was the idea behind it. And like I said, the whole idea is to keep bands fresh and relevant to people during this downtime, so that when people come back to live shows, people still remember these bands. They don't just get lost in the mix and fade away. And, they've worked out pretty good. I mean, we get anywhere from, 150 to 300 views per, and that's, about the same as, filling a nice room, for a good show. We do it free, so there's no reason for people to not tune in. The whole idea isn't about making money. It's about just keeping music relevant in the downtime. And, because, you guys know, and I know, when all this kind of comes back, people are going to be hungry for starving for music and starving for live events. And with all of the competition, if you will, that's out there, anybody that stays fresh in people's minds is going to, he's going to probably fare a lot better with, putting shows together and promoting bands and bands playing and so on and so forth than people that haven't done anything, so to speak. And so all of it works together. I help them and they help me.
Yeah.
We all have an interest in trying to get to the other side of this and continue all these things that we enjoy doing.
Oh man, it's been fun. I've gotten the honor to play two of your streams so far, and it has allowed me to kind of stretch my not only education in video editing and streaming and stuff, but it allowed me to become creative as well. Our first stream is performance was infinitely different than our second one.
Yeah, well, that's the whole idea. Is I don't produce videos. I just play the videos. I promote it and I tell everybody about it, and then I click my little mouse when it's time for your video to play. That's the extent of my involvement in, putting these things together. And I prefer to do it that way because I give the bands a chance to present themselves in the way that they want to be seen, not how I want to show them. So it's all on the band. If the band puts the time and the effort into making a great video like you guys do. I mean, the last Christmas video you guys did was awesome. There was so much production value to it for something that was done in a garage. There was so much production value to it that it made you feel like you were there watching a show. Some other bands, they don't quite put as much effort into it. Maybe they're not tech savvy. Maybe they just don't understand the process. But some bands, they'll do it with an iPhone. But it still gives you the feeling of the live performance. And, like I said, to me, it's important for the bands to represent themselves in the way that they want to be seen. I don't edit the videos. Honestly, I don't even watch the videos except for the first 10 seconds of each one to make sure that the sound quality is decent. And then I watch the videos as I play them with everybody else. So it's kind of the experience of going to a show and you see what you see and you get what you get.
That's great.
And that's what I enjoy doing about it. For me, it's the same. I get the same feeling as, say, a person that's viewing it in the crowd. You're watching it for the first time, so you're getting to enjoy it. Rather than, I just watched all these videos and now I have to sit here for 3 hours and watch all these videos again. No, I'm experiencing it the same as everybody else. So, have fun with it.
So our next one's coming up let's put our promoting hats on real quick. Our next one's coming up is can you explain this one to everybody listening? So What is this, Brian?
This is actually Chickenary Records is associated with Die Laughing Records, who is Dave Dalton, Screaming Bloody Marys. They when I did Punkfest, he helped me put a lot of the bands on Punkfest and so on and so forth. I've worked with Dave quite a bit, with making flyers for his shows and stuff like that. And as a result of that, they watched some of the streams that I did, and they were like, "Hey, we really want to do something like this, but we don't really know how. Will you do the streaming part of it, and we'll bring you the videos and we'll give you the bands?" So we kind of collaborated to make some of the events, and this is one of them, Love Kills. It's the idea of that women scorned, pissed off, love, Valentine's Day. Why not be sarcastic and ironic about it and put all this all girl, all punk bands on it? And when I do these events, I try to give each one sort of a different theme to keep it fresh and new all around, rather than just repeating the same old shit, just doing the same thing and so on and so forth. We try to always sort of have a theme so that we put bands into that theme so that it's all sort of relevant in some way. And this is just a way of doing that. It's just an idea, let's do a bunch of all-girl punk bands for Valentine's Day,
And you could find that at twitch.tv/Emerald Stage, and it is free. So you can find that at on February 13th, coming up at 6 p.m. So go check it out. I mean, we're all stuck at home. We all miss live music. So go throw that thing up on your TV screen. Turn on your surround sound if you have it, and go rock out. That's how I do it. So the next one coming up right after that, I got the dubious honor to be featured on the first one with Suburban Paranoia. This is Redwood Cyberfest 2.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the first Redwood Cyberfest was in lieu of Redwood Metalfest last year because, well, obviously we had to cancel all of our live shows, and so, I didn't want to waste the day since we had all these people that were sort of waiting for this event and we had to cancel. So we said, well, let's do something online. So we just called it Redwood Cyberfest, and we had a whole bunch of bands that would have played Redwood Metalfest on the bill. And since it did so well, we were like, well, let's just do another Redwood Cyberfest and, kind of keep it flowing and give more bands. So, every band that's playing on here is a band I don't think that aside from Apeshit Shenanigans has played a show for me before. But other than that, all these bands will be the first time I've worked with any of these bands on anything. So this is like a totally fresh lineup that I haven't done before. So I'm pretty excited about it. But that one's the following Saturday on February 20th. Same place, Emerald Stage at Twitch TV.
Yeah,
so,
can check it out. Like I said, it's free, and you can't beat free, ladies and gentlemen. So, Redwood Cyberfest 2, also featuring friend of the show, Mr. Amortal himself, Aaron Moore, from
the beard, the most perfect beard on earth.
Beard model Aaron Moore.
The Metro Beard.
It's almost like, no offense, Aaron, if you're watching, dude, but it's like a perfect G.I. Joe clip-on beard, dude. Like, you should mold it, make it, and sell it to people. Like, it's so perfect.
Oh my God!
Dude. It's so
merch
perfect.
piece.
It's so perfect.
Or start your own line of products and then sponsor the show.
Right? Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, so from promoter to promoter, and Lunchbox has promoted shows and ran shows as well. I gotta know, man. What are some horror stories that you have had booking shows, whether it's from the bands? You don't have to name names if you don't want to, but we want to know some of the horror stories from the bands that you have worked with.
That's the thing is I kind of figured this question was going to come up, but I've been racking my brain trying to think of a story I could tell, and honestly, I don't have one that would be a horror story. I mean, if anything, the first Redwood Metal Fest, but not because any of the bands were bad or anybody was difficult, is because, we were scared to death and had no idea what we were doing with a huge bill. But as far as, a horror story, I wish I had one because I could tell a cool story. I mean, the closest thing I could come to it maybe would be Hatred, played up here in Ukiah. Was it a year ago? I want to say it was a year ago, maybe a little bit longer. Christmas 2019, I think. I want to say. Anyway, they played up here, and I'd been trying to get them up here for 3-4 years, and it just never worked out. Something happened. We had to cancel the show so many times, and they get up here and they play. and it happened to be like the most crazy rainstorm that ever happened on the planet Earth. It, like in known history, everything was flooding and stuff, and they still came up to play. I think they played to like 12 people, but I think that, I mean, if that's a horror story, but they still had 12 people had a great time. I mean, I don't have any horror stories, man. Like every event, every show we've done has just been fun and good, you know?
Can you, okay, so let's phrase it a little differently. Not a horror story, but some shenanigan fuckery bullshit that you could turn into an entertaining story.
Okay.
No, you gotta have something of that nature.
Okay, so the Phoenix Theater, DRI, the second time that they played there, I think in 2016 they played, and the first time I met Mark Biederman from Blind Illusion, like he was this dude who like tried to go backstage. I kicked him out of backstage because I didn't know who he was, and then I came to regret that. And then Rick Hanault from Exodus, I also made. He was supposed to come and I didn't let him in because I just didn't recognize him when I saw him, and then I felt stupid after that because Harold O told me, dude, do you know who that is? And I was like, well, I do now. But anyway, so we fixed that and got him in. This kid was out in the pit, and he comes running backstage, and like I'm a hawk on backstage. Like backstage is like, to me, is like sacred territory that I protect it. You don't come back here unless you're supposed to be back here. And this kid comes tearing through the curtain at the Phoenix Theater, and he's like holding his face, and he's like, dude, I think I broke my nose. And I was like, what? And he pulled his hand down, and his nose was like, his nostrils were like on the side. And I was like, damn, dude, are you okay? And he's like, yeah. And he ran back out in the pit and moshed the rest of the night. Like, that was probably the craziest thing I've seen at a show. Like, dude's nose, literally, nostrils were on the side, dude, like a flounder. It was insane. Dude. But all of our shows, I mean, just the shows themselves have just been fun, man. I can't pick out anything that stands out as like better than the rest. Like everything is it's just all blurred together in just one big awesome time. So, I'm sorry. I wish I had like some cool specific stories, but man,
Speaking of Harold O, last time I saw Harold, Lunchbox and we were at Machine Head out in Oakland, and we went out to the smoking area to hang out, and I'm hanging out. I don't smoke, but I was hanging out with them, and this gentleman comes like rushing up the stairs in the smoking area, and I'm like, holy shit, that's fucking Harold O. And as I went to go say something, Damian Lewin from he was in Toy Called God comes up to me and slaps me in the face with a plastic package. I go, what the fuck? He goes, happy birthday, brother, and he slaps me in the face with a Machine Head flag, and he's like, happy birthday, dude, and then Harold O just disappeared. I was like, ah.
Last time I saw Harold, he was up here in Ukiah. He was doing guesting, playing with Union Jack and the Rippers. He was playing a couple songs with them. So he came up and me and him played some pool for a while, chit-chatted, and Harold's a cool guy. I like Harold. I miss Harold. We miss you, Harold.
Harold! So, like, in the last 2 years, when live shows were happening, up until the bands that you've seen doing live streams, either for you or in general, like, what are some bands that you would call out right now so people could go check out?
Oh, just bands that are like up and coming bands, like Death Wish Kid. If you guys haven't heard them yet, those guys are awesome. Incredulous out of Sonoma County.
Hell yeah.
Young thrashers, dude. Those kids are awesome. Just trying to single out bands right now. Band up here called Grime Time. They're like a cool pop punk band. They're making moves. You'll hear their name here pretty soon in bigger places. Bands up here like Raid, Crust Punk, bands like Fall Children. Shoot, then you get over to eastern part of Northern California. You've got like Troposphere. You've got from Nevada. You've got From the Ruins. You got a lot of really cool bands that are out there. Angerhead. All of those
From
bands.
the Ruins is still around?
Yeah, they're still around. They're still around. They're still doing. I think they're still going to be doing that Devastated in the Desert show, probably later this year. I saw some stuff about it earlier, but bands like Angerhead. Angerhead. Angerhead's just like the go-to.
Everybody knows Angerhead.
If you can't go see Exodus, you go see Angerhead. You kind of get the same thing. Um, um, you know, just Northern California metal in general. I mean, there's not a whole lot of bands that I would say weren't good that you shouldn't go see. I mean, you throw out a name, man, go see them. We've got a great a bunch of bands throughout Northern California, San Francisco, the East Bay, where Northern California, Humboldt, Redding area, Shasta County, Sacramento. There's just so many awesome bands like Unprovoked. Check them out if you haven't checked them out.
I like them.
Good friends of mine.
24 Gore. A lot of those Potential Threat. They've been around. They're not new. They've been around for 35, 40 years.
Love
but
those guys.
If you haven't seen them, they're like the epitome of 80s metal, and they're so underrated. And I don't know why they didn't get farther than they did, because they're just as good as Metallica. They're just as good as any of those other bands that came out of the 80s. And I don't understand, because they came out at the same time and played in all those same circuits, and I don't know why they didn't go farther, because they totally should have.
So fun story with Potential Threat. Potential Threat. So we played with them at Slim's with Diamond Head, and which was an awesome fucking show. But at the time, Suburban Paranoia was still trying to find their footing as a band. I was still a relatively new singer for the band. The band is whatever. Just trying to find the footing. So we opened the show. We thought we did an okay job. Potential Threat came on, fucking destroyed the place. And then Diamond Head came on, and that was amazing. I got to watch Am I Evil from the side of the stage, just watching them do their thing. So we get a review, an online blog review for the show about 2 weeks later. And they're like, yeah, okay, so Diamond Head had some support. One band clearly looked like they had their shit together, and the other one didn't. I think we all know which band it was. So we read that. I was like, all right, we gotta change some things here. We know what we did wrong. So my point is, Potential Threat is awesome, and that was the show that I saw them, and I realized as a drummer, they do not play with double kick. They only play with single kick, and that blew my mind. So,
well, they're just an amazing band, and they know how to get the crowd going, and they played Redwood Metalfest 2 years in a row. The first year they played main support, then the second time they played, they headlined, and I just love that band. I would book them as often as I can. They're just a great band. And like I said, between them and Schizo, they're the two most underrated thrash bands that
Schizo's
they did not get a fair shake, man. Not even at all. So
100%. And I agree with Mike Vanek, by the way. Lunchbox, wake the fuck up, man.
Every time I breathe, you just keep going. Every time I've tried to catch a pause between anything, everybody just keeps going. So I'm letting everybody go for once.
This is the first show out of 94 shows where Lunchbox hasn't said that much. He is,
like I said, I'm trying not to walk over each other. Me and Bryon have kind of been bad about that tonight, because we've got just that quarter-second delay. That I've noticed that when you listen to it on the audio format, your responses are almost out of your mouth before we've finished talking. In audio format. So I feel like we hear it with just that smidge of a delay. So I'm trying not to walk over anybody. Bryan's got a lot of experience, man. I'm trying to let him go.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But wow, dude. So, speaking of shows and whatnot, so you got Ska-Fest, Redwood Punkfest, Thrash Kamp, Redwood Metalfest, Very Sticky Krampus, Hardcore Metalfest, Love Kills, etc., etc., etc. Is there a musical genre that you will not touch?
No, honestly. I mean, I would get Sven up here if I could, and sing some cool jazz tunes and stuff. I mean, I'm just a fan of music, so like I said, to me, it's whatever I have to do to make a moment for other people to enjoy, I'm willing to do it. So I mean, music is art. I like hip hop. I've promoted hip hop bands. I like reggae. I've promoted reggae bands. Probably not the biggest country fan, but hey, man, who doesn't dig some Garth Brooks or Clint Black? I mean, come on, man.
Well, and if the Dead South was coming through, I think you'd try and pick them up.
Hey, it was just anybody, anything. If it taps your toe, let your toe tap, dude. Like, that's just how I feel about it. Metal just happens to be like my vibe. That's my go-to for me. But I'm not just a metalhead.
It's easier to sell what you're into.
Exactly. Well, that's one of the things about like promoting music that people have to learn if you want to be successful, if you will, is it's not necessarily about what you like. You should like what you're promoting, but it's not just about what you like. To be successful, you have to understand what other people like, and you have to be open to that. But you also at the same time have to find appreciation for it, so you know how to sell it to them. So, to me, it's detrimental to keep a closed mind or to be, with the elitist mentality about music and all that stuff. Like, I don't particularly have a place for it with me, So anything and everything, as long as it taps your toe and it's a good time, like, who gives a shit what genre it is?
Thank you so much, man. Like, I'm not going to name names or anything, but I knew a lot of individuals, and these same individuals, man, who I would say a metal band name, and they would go, fucking posers. Like, they would turn on the whole metal elitism card, and like, how does anybody live listening to the same 8 bands over and over again?
I don't know that it's necessary. I mean, in all honesty, I think most of those people go home at night and listen to all the shit that they told you sucked anyway. So listen, okay, so like maybe, hey, I'm going to give a real unpopular opinion right now, but okay, so let's just take, for instance, the band Nickelback. Everybody hates Nickelback.
No.
I'm saying.
Nickelback's badass,
Listen, everybody wouldn't know Nickelback's name if they didn't have some form of talent. And like, everybody's got a Nickelback freaking CD, whether they want to admit it or not, because you wouldn't be able to have an opinion about their music had you not listened to it. So fuck off with that shit.
The thing about it is, if you just turn on the radio, like, just rarely, instead of hooking up your Bluetooth, you just throw on a radio station, and you catch some Nickelback, you might not want to listen to it. You really might not, but you'll let it get maybe a chorus in, and then you might change the station. And 5 seconds into whatever you're listening to, you're singing that Nickelback chorus to yourself.
Everybody knows a Nickelback song. We used to have a place up here. It's been closed for a while, called Canocti Vista.
Yeah.
And we used to go to a lot of. Shit, man. Everybody played there at one point. It was great shows through the 90s and early 2000s, and Nickelback played there. And I actually didn't really know much about that band. Like, I didn't really know much. I mean, Nickelback. I think I heard a couple of songs on the radio, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, you want to go see Nickelback?" And I was like, "Sure." And he's like, "I'll take you for free." So we went, and dude, they played Pantera songs. Like, come on, man. Like, it's like, I'm not trying to make everything in the world about like Nickelback's the greatest band ever. I'm just using them as an example.
We have said Nickelback 4 times on this episode that we have said the entirety.
Look, I'm just using them as the example that, like, hey, man, if it taps your toe, you shouldn't be ashamed of what you like, man.
Hold on. I have an announcement to make real quick. Mike Vanek has just admitted live on air, Brandon, get a screenshot of that he has 20 signed 8x10 Nickelback pictures in his basement. Please screenshot that, post it to the band page, the group, the Instagram.
Screenshot.
There's no shame in your game, dude.
No, but it does give us some chances to talk shit, and that's something we do very well at this show. And I just think that's another promo waiting to happen, Mike Vanek.
Dude, I will say this about Nickelback, that like all the metal fans, because it's always the metal fans who are like, fuck Nickelback, gay ass shit, or whatever. If you actually listen to their CDs, they have heavy ass music on their CDs. As you said, like they're playing Pantera covers and stuff. Like, for every...
I cannot believe we're defending Nickelback on this show.
We absolutely are. We absolutely are.
What happened to it? I mean, I like Nickelback and all. Like, fuck you. If I'm going to say... Every time I move, Photograph comes on. Either on the radio, in the gas station I stop at, like on TV when I get home. Like within 3 hours of moving, I will hear Photograph.
Look at this photograph.
I mean, we're pioneering here because you know as well as I do, there's a good chance we can have bottles and rocks thrown at us in the street even for having this conversation. But then, like I said, I'm making a point.
Taking a stand.
I'm taking a stand. I'm making a point that, like I said, if you like it, ain't no reason to be ashamed, and there ain't no reason to shame somebody for what they like. And if you fucking like it, you fucking like it. And what else is there, But yeah, I mean, there's other bands out there that are similar, and they're always the bands that the elitists are always like, oh, they suck, that's horrible, blah blah. And yeah, get over it, dude.
I just can't get over the amount of times we've said Nickelback.
Right.
Like I
One more
can't
time,
get over this. Like I think I've said Nickelback more today than I have in like the past year.
But it's kind of liberating though, huh? Like you feel like I could say Nickelback.
It's a safe place.
Yeah, it's a safe
Nickelback.
place.
And by the way, shout out to Joanne. She is put in our Facebook discussion group. If you're not on it, go be on it right now. It's the Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box podcast discussion group. Go join it. We get all the shit posts in there. But our resident Joanna has actually screenshotted that Mike Vanek has 20 Nickelback signed 8x10s in the basement. All right, thank you, Joanna. Thank you so much. Oh, man. Okay, so as we're kind of slowly wrapping up here a little bit, so, I got to, as a promoter, as a festival organizer, as an artist, we haven't even touched any art stuff, but, if you had to make a fantasy bill, Bryon, and you had unlimited money, what 5 bands would you book for this festival?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I see those Facebook posts all the time, and I see like everybody kind of throws out their, can I impress everybody with my cool 5 people list? But I don't think my list would be anything remotely close to any of that. Like when I think about bands that I would want to see, first and foremost would be like Pink Floyd.
Oh.
I mean, I've seen Pink Floyd before. One time, amazing show, but Pink Floyd would be my headliner. Then I would have like Tom Petty. Tom Petty's probably my second favorite artist of all time.
Wow.
I'm with it.
Yeah. And then, hey, oddly enough, I'd put Huey Lewis and the News on there. You know why? Because they're just a sick, fucking, fun-ass band, and wouldn't that be sick to have Pink Floyd, Tom Petty, Huey Lewis and the News? Who else would we have? Oh, shit, man. I don't know who else I would fill that out with. I mean, there's so many bands to pick from that.
Nickelback.
Yeah, I don't think Nickelback would be in my top 5.
They're not making it.
Honestly, I would Motorhead mainly because I never got to see Motorhead. There was the one band that I regret never getting to see, so that would be great to have Motorhead. And you know what, Prince? I would put Prince on there. That would
Hell
be excellent.
Hell
That would be
yeah.
excellent. But not necessarily because those are all just like the greatest music ever. It's nothing to do with that. It's about like that would be like the most craziest, most blow your mind show that like you could ever imagine. And like, who cares that it's not all metal? Everybody goes, oh, Exodus, Death Angel, Violence. Yeah, we all love those bands. They're great bands. But like, wouldn't it just blow your mind to see Pink Floyd and Prince on the same bill? Like, holy shit. Come on now.
I don't feel that's even too far out of the realm of like possibility for the day. Or if they were both still around to be playing now.
Well, they're all dead, so they can't.
I know.
We're not going to get very far with it, but it would be awesome, wouldn't it?
But that was the if they were still around thing.
Yeah.
That is one hell of a lineup. I would go to that show. I would smoke weed and get plastered and probably fall.
Back though.
And probably yeah.
They'd be in the green room, like hanging out. You drink an IPA with Nickelback.
Oh man, that's great. Okay, so speaking of art, before we wind it down, because we're gonna promote quite a few shows here, because you have a lot of cool stuff coming up for 2021. So we're gonna promote all that. But before we get to that, just basic art question, like, how do you do your art? Do you draw it out? Do you paint it? Because if you haven't seen Bryon Stiky-Tips flyers, and he's done a lot of flyers and album covers, he's done a lot of them for Angerhead, Suburban Paranoia, or what people like to call it, Suburban Pizzeria, or Pizza Noia.
It didn't look like pizza when I was making it. But, yeah.
He's made a ton of them, especially flyers. You can't see a live show in California without seeing at least one Bryon Stiky-Tips flyer or festival flyer. He's done all the Devastated Fest flyers. Thank you, by the way. How do you make your flyers? Are they painted? Are they digitally put together?
Everything I do is digital. I mean, I used to do a lot of scratch pad drawing and stuff like that, but like I said, I'm not computer savvy, so to take something from a piece of paper and put it into computer or print or whatever, I was never good at that. So I learned how to use paint programs, and some of it is I have like different levels of flyers per se that I make. Some for like a quick flyer. Somebody needs a flyer in 2 days. You find some really cool graphic or clip art that exists somewhere, and you add things to it to make it cool. And that's like the quick version of flyers. When somebody has like a really cool special event coming up, we'll start from scratch and we'll build a graphic or make some sort of character or theme and build on it from there. But it really just comes down to what serves the purpose best at any given moment. Personally, I like to create things, that are, fresh and new. But when you do a lot of flyers for, I do a lot of flyers for Christine Lamore, do a lot of flyers for Liquid Dueno, and that was for a while there. It was like literally like 3-4 flyers per, a week. Each one of them was wanting, so we kind of had a process of either they had something cool or I had something cool, or I've got files of images and things that I've saved or other things that I've started on and never finished or whatever. I mean, thousands of files of half doodles and stuff, and I'll go through it and I'll find something that's relevant to the show and we'll develop it into something or whatever. It's just about being creative. I think, just trying to stay humble about it because, I know a lot of people appreciate what I do and I appreciate that they appreciate it. I try to think of a theme or something that's relevant to the music that's being played, but also something that's kind of obscure, so you have to think about why that matters, to the show. And that's how I try to make, I think that's why my flyers maybe stand out, is because when you look at it, you kind of already know what you're about to get when you walk into the show. And that's what I like to do, is kind of give you a little taste without any noise, if that makes any sense, of like visually what you're about to get yourself into.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I put together a lot of shows. I've seen a lot of shows. I've seen a lot of flyers, and your flyers specifically do not look like anybody else's flyers.
Yeah, I have a formula, which I'm not going to give that away because, well, it's my thing. It's my thing. But
proprietary. It's proprietary.
Right. Yeah. But I got a formula that I stick to. There's actually a lot of flyers out there that you wouldn't know that I made, because I do a lot of flyers for like the Bay Area metal scene and punk scene and all that good stuff, and I enjoy that. But I do a lot of stuff for places out of state, other things like that are completely different styles of art. I like to keep my mind open. I don't like to stick myself to one style. It just seems like the one style that you see a lot is what they really like and appreciate in the Bay Area and Northern California, so that's kind of what I end up doing. But, I do a lot of stuff that's a far cry from skulls and brains and eyeballs and, spines and shit. Like I actually enjoy doing like, actual real art, and landscapes and things of that nature, and other stuff that's, more abstract and things. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. Mr. Lunchbox, before we get to the promoting section of this show, do you have any additional questions for Mr. Bryon Stiky-Tips?
Well, just kind of curious, man. You've done the weed grower operation. You've made merchandise, slung it at festivals. You've been throwing your own festivals, and now you've moved into these cyber festivals. My final question just is, what's next? What's the next mountain you want to climb beyond that? What do you want to do a step beyond promoting and everything? What are there any other crazy goals that you're chasing that you want to show us?
Well, when it comes down to ultimately, my goal would be to open a venue in my area that's, that caters to the larger bands, the bigger national touring bands, international touring bands, because I think that we have a crowd here for that. So we just don't really have a place in which to host those events. That's why they don't really happen here. But that would be my ultimate goal. Whether or not that happens is to be determined. You need a lot of money. I guarantee if I won the lottery tomorrow, $600 million, the first thing I do is peel off 20 mil and make the sickest music venue you've ever seen. But, that's one day, down the road. That's the ultimate goal. So between now and then, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, but, I'd like to be able to have bands like, Exodus and Overkill and Testament come up here and play, but you need a room that holds 600 or 700 people to make it a viable show, and we don't have that. So that's ultimately what I'd like to provide, so that we can just have our solid music scene here.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah, man. So like, I don't know what to say to that. That's like the perfect answer. That's what you should be doing. That's what I would do. I would love to put a venue in my hometown, then make another venue in another town, like just make a chain of venues.
Yeah, it's, how can I explain? It's not so much about that band and bringing that band here. It's about that band coming here and seeing this culture. So it's kind of like both sides. It's like, an experience for the bands and for the people that get to see it. Like, I try to think about the whole encompassing thing, both sides of it. And, it would be great for bands to want to come here and to feel excited about coming here to play an event, not us having to chase them down and, throw a bunch of money at them, and bribe them to stop here, because it's kind of the way that it goes. We're a tiny town. So it would be nice to have a place where something that becomes a regular part of the tour circuit, like, hey, everybody plays San Francisco or Oakland or Santa Cruz, and then they skip over all of Northern California and they go to like Portland or and like we just kind of get skipped over, and because we're not on the I-5. So if we had a reason for people to make a detour off of the I-5, be a viable music venue for big places or big bands to come through, be great for the bands, the fans, and the community in general, bring in revenue and taxes and all that good fun stuff in. And it just, to me, I just see like that's like that's ultimately the direction we need to go, because I think it's good for the community, for the culture of music and all of that stuff to have it all here. And it's great that we have outlets where we can go places and see that, but like I said before, why not have it in your own backyard?
So we talked about Love Kills, and we talked about Cyberfest 2, but we have some other cool things, or you have some other cool things coming up in 2021. Granted, everything is going to be okay, but we talked about them earlier. Tell everybody about this.
Okay, so Dirty Rotten Imbeciles, we've got 2 dates with them, the 26th and the 27th, I believe. They were scheduled to play this last year in 2020 in October, and like their whole tour got canceled. Everybody's tours got canceled, so we rescheduled for this next year. So we're really hoping that everything goes well. We'll be able to host them here in Ukiah, and then the following night up in Arcata, up in Humboldt County. So yeah, we'd like to get. Yeah, hopefully we get to those 2 shows, because we've been starving for some DRI for a while.
Oh, yes. And how about this? Can you give us more details? Oh, where'd it go? More details on this.
We're still working out the details on that. I'll be honest, that may or may not happen. We're still working out how we can put that together. The problem that we're having is we came up with all these great ideas that were spread out over the entire year, and then they're like, oh, you can't do shows basically the first 6 months of 2021. So everything that would have been the first half of the year is all getting shuffled down to the second half of the year. So we're trying to figure out dates and how everybody's not tripping over each other trying to do shows. So we would love to host Redwood Punkfest 2. We would love to have the lineup that we had to cancel last year, which was MDC, Fang, Verbal Abuse. I think we had like 16 bands on the bill, but those were the 3 top headliners. It would have been a great show, but we had to cancel it. So we're really hoping that we can pull that off sometime in September. That's the plan.
All right. All right, next up, the other cool thing you have coming up. Tell us more about this.
That is something that is still getting worked out. I've been talking with our friend Omar up in Oregon. You know,
Oh, yeah,
Omar.
Metal
Metal
Show.
Mixtape.
Metal Mixtape.
And,
He's out there.
Yeah, and a friend of ours, Jim Powell. He does the Metal in the Mountains event up in Dunsmuir. It's kind of an idea of, I have a page or a group, if you will, called the Metal Triangle, and the idea is that it's not necessarily three places or three bands. It's the idea that a triangle is the strongest thing to build on. And so I've had this idea of like all of these competing, if you will, promoters that are all trying to, gather people and bring shows and get these people from this area and this area. If we all work together and shared, the things that we're doing, that we would do better with bringing crowds, because we wouldn't be booking the same bands and all that kind of stuff. So we kind of worked on that idea for the last couple of years, and this is something that's kind of a culmination of, Southern Oregon, Northern California, the state of Jefferson, if you will, this area that's supposed to be this 51st state, and bringing together these bands from Northern California to play an event together rather than, all these separate events like they have in Oregon and different parts of California. Let's bring everybody together and do this awesome event with some camping. We're working out the details. We haven't decided quite yet if it'll be in Southern Oregon or Northern California, but somewhere in between. We'll have more details on that later as we get closer to it. So
Okay, so is this a replacement for Thrash Kamp?
no, Thrash Kamp will happen. It just probably won't happen this year, mainly because the original Thrash Kamp that we had scheduled for last year was 4th of July weekend. And, we really want to try to keep it either that same weekend or close to it, and it's just not available to us this year. If we come up with another idea or another place that can host it, we'll definitely pursue it. But at this point, it's kind of shelved until 2022. But it's coming. I've been wanting to do a camping metal fest for a really long time, and I think that's the one that's the one that I really want to put the time and effort into. So keep an eye out. We're definitely gonna have more information about that soon.
And the final one I'm going to put up before we make a couple announcements. Can you give us anything on this?
No. You got all I can give you right there. Redwood Metalfest final chapter, August 21st, 2021. Everybody was upset with me. They're like, oh, it's the last one. It's the final one. It's like, well, it is and it isn't. It's the last event that we'll call Redwood Metalfest, but I think that it's time to evolve into something bigger that's more inclusive, because we've played every metal band that you could possibly play in Northern California, and out of how many 6 years and over 100 bands, 500 performers, we need to expand so we can keep doing it. So we're going to change it up and come back in 2022 with something different. But this one right here is going to blow your freaking minds. Like, we've got a ridiculous lineup. Ridiculous. Like, we had to cancel last year, and we brought back most of the bands that we had from last year, but we've also added a few to make it even more special. So February 6th, we will be announcing that lineup. So so keep an ear out for info on that. And that's all you get.
All right. So we got a couple announcements. The first announcement I'm going to make is we just got a $25 donation from Joanne Filicky. Thank you very much, Joanne. Donating to
Funding our show.
keeping our show running week by week. Thank you, Joanne. Not Joanna. Sorry about that. Joanne.
It's Madam
J. That I can pronounce that. Madam J, that works. All right, and Mr. Lunchbox, would you do us a favor and give Mike Vanek his day in the sun?
Well, that's the anointed job we have given to Mr. Vanek, is he is our music correspondent, and he just wanted us to know that there are a couple upcoming album releases this month. Dress the Dead, featuring members of Forbidden, Violence, Insolence, Man-Made God, released their debut single on Blood Blast Distribution, a digital subsidiary of Nuclear Blast Records, recently. I'm guessing you can find that on all streaming platforms. And then a band called Break the Paradox from Antigua releases their debut record on the 15th of this month. So, just a few short days away. They're the product of the GK Music Youth Program, and it's available on the Break the Paradox Bandcamp.
Nice. Good stuff right there. Go check out Dress the Dead and Break the Paradox. Ooh, members of Insolence? Cool. I like Insolence.
Did you not listen when I read the
I
list?
did. I absolutely did. Okay, so as we're kind of wrapping up here a little bit, Bryon Stiky-Tips, where can people find you? How can they book with you? How can they get an art project done by you? Go ahead and push your stuff, please.
Well, you can find me on Facebook, Bryon Stiky-Tips, just like it says underneath my nice fluffy beard there. Find me on Facebook under that, or Sticky Graphics Promotions. You can find Sticky Graphics on Facebook. You can find me at the Redwood Metalfest forum, which is a group page, or the Metal Triangle, which is also a group page. You can message me through any of those, and if you're interested in doing shows, I'm interested in talking to you. So yeah, hit me up.
Also, if you have an art project, a flyer, anything, hit this man up.
Most definitely.
All right, so Bryon, thank you for joining us tonight on episode 94 of Talking Shop with the Boss and the Box, man.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been cool. It's been fun, man. First time I've done this, so thanks. I appreciate it.
And I think we should have you back for the, a trivia battle that you kind of mentioned earlier?
I'll pitch you game show night in post show.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Lunchbox, where can they find you, sir?
You can find my band Nothing But Losers at Nothing But Losers on Facebook, Nothing But Losers on Instagram, Nothing But Loser on Twitter. You can find me personally at Loser Lunchbox on Instagram or Dave Ussery on Facebook. And Brandon, what about yourself?
You can find me at The Real Brandon Blacker on Instagram. You can find my band Suburban Paranoia on all social media platforms under Suburban Paranoia. And by the way, go ahead to Hauntless.com. I am an affiliate for Hauntless.com. And if you use promo code I am the boss, you'll get a nice sick discount. So go over there, use the code, dress up with some sick garbs, and man, don't miss out. So, ladies and gentlemen,
hang on. First of all, you got to throw up our sponsor graphic.
Oh yeah, I can do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, for all of your financial services needs, call Leilani Mosinske. That is LEILONI MOSINSKE. Financial professional. You can call her at 510-571-7215 or message her at Leilani, that is leiloni.wfg@gmail.com. License number 0M14654. Get your financial credentials going with Leilani Mosinske. And most importantly, don't forget to go find this show on Talking Shop with the Boss and the Boss on Facebook. Don't forget to join the Talking Shop with the Boss and the Box discussion group, where we shitpost bullshit all day, every day, and we bullshit about the bullshit that you want to bullshit about. And also you can find us on Twitter at talking_shop, Instagram at Talking Shop with the Boss and the Box. But most importantly, join us Monday nights right here on YouTube for episode 95 of Talking Shop with the Boss and the Box with Ben K.
That's right. We have the rest of the month planned out. Next week we got Ben Chaos. He's a rapper he's from your area, right, Mr. Lunchbox?
Stockton.
He's from the Stockton area. And then the week after that, we're talking all about the Royal Rumble, baby. It's Royal Rumble season. And we're about to get some pro wrestling on you. So, Bryon Stiky-Tips, thanks for joining us. And we will...
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
All right. And we will see you all next week on Talking Shop with the Boss and the Box. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.